and happy Easter Sunday. It is very nice that the reading was chosen from a Christian saint on Easter Sunday. Today's topic is creating self-image. The first thought that comes to our mind from this topic is we need to improve upon our self-image. We have image about ourselves. We are not satisfied with what we think about ourselves, and we want to make it better. Now, we have heard of self-image. That if you do not have self-image, you lack your self-esteem. When you have low self-esteem, you are not the human being that you ought to be. You have been given the capabilities to manifest great power within you. Because of your low self-esteem, improper self-image, you are not able to manifest the power that is given to you. The quality that is given to you are remain hidden, and in the process you suffer and you make others suffer. So that is the reason of low self-image or improper self-image. So our topic today is taken how to create right self-image. What is right self-image? And what type of wrong or improper self-image be there? You'll find if you see the magazines and all that, how to create more of acceptability to yourself. They will say, we are nice clothes, so more modern style, so that you get attention of the people, change hairstyle, color different, give different color to hair. Like that you will feel good that I am doing something nice, and when you feel good, you will feel attractive and people will get attention towards you, and you will have developed self-esteem, better self-image of yourself by changing your appearance of your clothes, of your face, of your hair, of your body. So that is common way of saying how to improve self-image, how to create self-image. So, but we are not going to do that. We are concerned with how to have real self-image, how to create real self-image. Something is lacking in us, that we are deviated from our real self. And the image that we have about ourselves is unreal, something lesser than what we really are. Now let us see how can we do, and what type of self-image, what is the reason of this self-image is. First, how we started think different persons are here, we think we have different image about ourselves. Some of us are very self-confident in work, some of are not. But God has given us many people there who are intelligent enough, who are bright enough, but somehow they lack that confidence and are not able to manifest that quality because of lack of their own quality in them. They are not aware. They are not confident about themselves. So naturally they are hidden their self-quality. Now, what are the things that make us what we think about ourselves today? In reality, to say spiritually, as we know, we all are Atman. We all are infinitely glorious self, devoid of all weakness. We are all perfect, all powerful. When we find a man weak, then all sorts of crime and cruelty comes to a weak person. If a person finds himself strong and good, he becomes very benevolent. He doesn't fear. This fear, cruelty, criminality are all the result of weakness, and the weakness is the result of ignorance about his own real self. The more we know about our real nature, the more we create our real self-image, more strong we become, more fearless we become. Beautiful was being read about the humility. There is a lot of difference between humility and low self-esteem. Now let's first start with the cause of our present state of self-image. The first cause, the Vedanta says, is ignorance about our own self. We are totally ignorant of ourselves and have somehow thought ourselves to be this body in which there is mind. That is Dehatma Buddhi, thinking our Atma, ourself as the Deha, is the main problem that we have. And again, the thoughts of the mind that we have, that also we consider this, that is me. So neither I am body nor mind I am. So that is the reality. The first cause of distorted self-image of ourselves is avidya. To say in a simple language, Swami Adishwarananda writes very nicely what avidya is, what real root ignorance is. He says it is loss of contact with reality. That is the first step. We first forgot who we are, and then other things we impose. Like that, seeing a snake in a row. We forget that that is something that is not snake. Somehow we could not recognize the row. First step comes, ignorance of the row. Then after that we superimpose something else on that. What we superimpose? We superimpose snake on that. First we don't see row, that is ignorance. Loss of contact with reality. That has become to us. So we forget who we are. First, avidya, root ignorance. That is not the aim. Then we superimpose something on that. Oh, that is a snake. Forgot real nature? Then what superimpose? Asmita, I-ness. And what is that we superimpose on that? I, the body. That comes. I, when I say, I feel I am body. I, this mind. This psychosomatic complex, I identified with myself. So this ego or the distorted I-ness is the thing that we have created as our self-image at present. Now we need to create the real self-image. What happens after that? And that I comes, ego comes, then in fact asmita is not the simple ego or I-ness. It is inflated ego, wrong ego. What you are not, that you start thinking yourself. And this ego comes, then we go on adding to it something, upadhis. I am a man, I have this body. Then we say, I am black in color, I have short height, I have a short flat nose. Like that thing, we start all this I and I, all I add. This is about the physics we add, then something we achieve. I passed undergrad, I said I am an undergraduate. One more thing came to inflate our ego. And you do masters, PhD, so I am PhD. Very few people are PhD. You do DSc, I am DSc. Ego getting inflated. None of you are those. None of you are those. All image, self-image is being wrong. When there is wrong, mistake, delusion, comes suffering. The one who thinks he is enjoying his achievement by adding more and more upadhis to this body, achievement of this body and mind, to have his or her own achievement and transforming him or herself to be that thing, that is mistake, and mistake will ultimately give suffering. That is the problem with wrong self-image. Then with this I-ness, when I say I am this body, separate from the world, two things come immediately. Raga and Dvesha. Comes deep attachment to the things we like. Something we like, the world we see. I am separate from the world. The whole oneness was lost. I feel myself to be a small being with this 6 feet height, 5 feet 5 inch height, whatever our height is, and then I see the world there. And it happens with this wrong perception of myself comes I like half of the world or even less of the world, and majority portion I totally dislike. So deep attachment to the things I like, to the persons I like. That's called raga. That comes because of that wrong misconception, misperception, ignorance about my real self. The third is this. Then there is dvesha, chronic aversion to the things we dislike. Little like, little dislike doesn't harm that much. But if it is deep attachment, attraction, deep attachment, raga, and chronic aversion, then there is problem in us. So that all happens because of sullen ego. Distorted ego in which we have added more and more as upadhis, which we are not. We have added to those, and then we say, I am that. Once wrong being done, separating ourselves from the reality, and more wrongs are added in that, and we create our own image, which is very untrue. And finally, the fifth, they say, is avinivesa. Swami Adiswarananda translates is, stubborn clinging to life that does not lead us to move forward. That is avinivesa. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, avinivesa. These are all which make our self-image distorted, wrong, mistaken, and as a consequence they bring suffering to us. When we have right understanding of ourselves, we will not suffer, we will not be afraid, we will not lack anything. Wrong thing all adds to that. Now this ego is the second stage. First is if we could know. The second stage is the ego. Now they say ego as such is the thing which in fact is good. Because of sense of I, if it is right type of ego, then it will lead us for our perfection. I want to achieve this. I am a son of God. I am infinite being. I have not realized, but I want to achieve that my real self-image. I want to reach my real self. That will come from ego. They say that this world, samsara, this ego, when we are this ajnana, what does it give? It gives us education, entertainment, and action. That we get in the world. So ego can lead us to right knowledge and make us free. If we don't have anything, ego, how will we practice spiritual discipline? We need to practice spiritual discipline. I will serve, I will love, I'll become pure, I'll become perfect. All this comes from the ego. But that is a sort of right ego, right self-image. And inflated ego is wrong. So we need strong ego. We need mature ego. When ego is strong, it is less ego. When ego is weak, it is inflated ego. Now, this ego, according to the tendency of the people, are of three types. We all have these three types of qualities in us. The beautiful translation. First is the tamasika, guna, nature. When ego is tamasika, so Swami writes, it's infantile ego. Like the growth, a small child, it grows. So first born ego is infantile, tamasika. What is that? It is weak to accept the burden of life. One has this infantile ego, he is very distressed, very afraid. Even burden of life seems to be very heavy for that person. And it always is defensive, always afraid to protect its ego. Very afraid. And pessimistic, doesn't do work. Oh, this world is going bad, everything seems to be bad, to that type of tamasika type of person, whose ego is tamasika, infantile. It is in the childhood, not grown up. That type of ego. And it has no identity or self-image. The person who is very tamasika, they have no identity of themselves. No self-image has been created. So how they do? And their self-image is always swayed by the opinion of others. Someone will say, you are very good looking today. Then he'll be happy he's good looking. Because someone said, he doesn't have any one idea. Another person says, oh, why did you make this hairstyle? It looks so bad. Really, it looks bad? No idea about himself or herself. Whatever people say, it is swayed on that. No self-image. That is called, very appropriately, infantile ego. The tamasika ego. Now, what is the second type of ego? Rajasika. Tamasika, Rajasika and Sattvika. Rajasika, Swamiji translates as adolescent ego. Grown up. What has become adolescent? And it's so perfect with the age of that age of our life, that what Rajasika, very active as the adolescents are. Adolescence is very aggressive. So Rajasika ego makes you very aggressive, unsteady. It is not pessimistic, it's overly optimistic. Very passionate. Wants to achieve. Wants to enjoy. And always feels, I can do this, I will do that. Always that thing comes. Very active and very domineering. The person with Rajasika ego will feel that he is the center of the world. Whole world should be, he is the center, and whole world is around his circumference. Everything has to be reported to him, whatever happens in the household or in the community, in the office, because he is very Rajasika, adolescent, not mature. And everything should be done, what he says should be done, or she says should be done. She or he wants to be total command of the thing. There is one Rajasika, like this infantile ego, old woman. She was a mother-in-law. So when her son got married and daughter-in-law came to her house, and she told daughter-in-law, you see, I am the mistress of this house. Everything will happen what I say. So before doing anything, ask me. And what I say, only do that. So once when beggar came, this daughter-in-law was a new person, kind-hearted, so she wanted to give something. So mother, that beggar has come, should we give something to him? She said, no, our tradition of our household is, we don't give anything to the beggar. Nothing we give to the beggar. Rich, well-to-do family, they won't give to the poor person that in India, see, from door to door they beg one morsel of food. She won't give. This is the tradition of their house. And whatever she says has to be done. She was very afraid. This ego, adolescent ego, seems to be very aggressive, wants to be center of the world, but very weak. These are the weak, not the strong ego. The strong ego is mature ego. So one day, that mother-in-law was not at house, and when she was returning to house, she found one beggar was coming from the house. Then she was afraid. So what daughter-in-law did, and he said to beggar, where you had been? I had been to this house. Oh, that is my house. So did someone give you some alms? She said, no. One young lady came and she said, this is not the tradition of your house to give something. Oh, she said that? Come with me. So that lady went that beggar to herself, her house. The beggar came with a good mind that perhaps she is going to give. Said there must be something wrong. And she comes near, he comes all the way walking 5 minutes, 8 minutes, and then she turns to him and calls that daughter-in-law, hey, come here. Says, did you shoot this person that you don't have tradition to give alms? Yes, mother, I told you, told me that. Who are you to tell that? I will tell. Listen, we don't have tradition to give any alms in this house. Go away. That much also freedom will not be there. That is adolescent ego. So much wants to be center. Everything she has to do. So that is the Rajasika ego. Always tries to dominate. Very egoistic. The third kind of ego is the mature ego. The Sattvika ego. It is I. That type of ego we really want to create our self-image on that type of ego. If ego has to be there, if it doesn't go, as Sri Ramakrishna says, ego doesn't want to go. However, you try to feel you are not separate from the world, you are all pervading consciousness, one with Satchidananda, but that ego is somewhere it is lurking, it won't go. Like he says, parrot says Ram, Ram, or God's name or something nice. But when cat catches the parrot, then it says Tya, Tya, like it comes to its real sound comes, like the parrot sound. Like it happens to us. When we may think with our intellect that, yes, we are all loving, I am not really body and mind, I am that consciousness of what is this body and mind, it will die and it will go, ego is false. I should not think that way. I am egoless. There is no ego in me. Like that, I am like Satchidananda. But some danger comes, then we forget everything. Then we become our own, that little self with that infantile ego or adolescent ego. So we need to transform our ego from adolescent and infantile to the mature or sattvika ego. What is that? What happens in sattvika ego? Sattvika ego or mature ego is integrated. It is purposeful. We have that type of ego. So there is purpose in life. I want to achieve this thing. Not like the Rajasika person for one's own self. As Sri Ramakrishna says, there is the highest purpose of life, to make yourself perfect, pure, all loving, all kind, better human being. That is the purpose of life. There are many things that teachers teach. What is the purpose of life? Holy Mother says, giving joy to others is the purpose of life. Sri Ramakrishna says, highest purpose of life is realizing God. It is the same. Unless you realize God, unless you see God in others, why you will want to make others happy? You will want to make yourself happy because you don't see God. You have to love God, you have to realize God, then only that urge to make others joyful will come to you. You have to, one need to grow spiritually to make others happy and to feel happy from the happiness of others. Most people are there, they say, owner's pride and neighbor's envy. An advertisement, any TV. So you buy that TV, so this is owner's pride and neighbor's envy. You'll feel very happy when neighbors envy you. No, we don't want that type of joy. We want to feel joy in the joy of others. Somebody is seeing Onida TV, I'm happy here. I want to transcend that normal feeling of the human beings. So it is controlled and it is neither aggressive nor defensive. Aggressive ego is adolescent ego, defensive ego is infantile ego. So mature ego makes us the right type of person. We want to create that image where our ego is mature. It is just content to itself. It is not inflated and bloated. It is just the right type of ego. So now how to do this? That is the one challenge. How to have. And finally, we want to really be established in our real self-image, which is one with God, perfect, non-separativeness with the whole world, feeling of oneness with everyone. Other person suffer, I feel suffering. The ideal is Sri Ramakrishna. Two boatmen quarreling, one slaps another. Sri Ramakrishna cries, They say, what happened? Oh, that boatman beat that another boatman. And what happened to you? I feel pain. And the person saw there was a mark of palm. So much of oneness with others. Someone is suffering, he will cry, go forward. It will be pain as if he or she himself will be feeling pain. That much of oneness with whole creation, that is the perfect self-image on which we want to achieve. That sort of self-image. When we feel we are one with everyone. That much of love. And that is the reality. Reality is that. Reality is we all are one. Whenever we go towards the reality, we feel happy. That is the sign of happiness and non-happiness. When you go away from the reality, selfishness, it is away from the reality. And we are unhappy. A selfish person can never be a happy person. May look like happy, may drive nice new car. You say, oh, how happy, he's having so nice cars, he's driving a big building. They are never happy in words. So happiness comes with sharing joy with others, giving joy with others. Now, how to make this, create our real self-image. It is to develop our real progress, our self-esteem. Sometimes we, saying about attachment, let me read from Swami Vivekananda. So sometimes we decry and say this attachment is too bad, but let's see. That is one cause of misery. We are attached. We are being caught. Therefore, says the Gita, work constantly, work, but be not attached, be not caught. Reserve unto yourself the power of detaching yourself from everything. However, beloved, however much the soul might yearn for it, no matter how great the pangs of misery you would feel if we are going to leave it, still reserve the power of leaving it whenever you want. The weak have no place here, in this life or in any other life. Weakness leads to slavery. Strength is life. Weakness is death. Strength is felicity. Life, eternal, immortal. Weakness is constant strain and misery. Weakness is death. Attachment is the source of all our pleasures now. We are attached to our friends, to our relatives. We are attached to our intellectual and spiritual work. We are attached to external objects, and so we get pleasure from them. What again brings misery but this very attachment? We have to detach ourselves to earn joy. If only we had the power to detach ourselves at will, there will be no anxiety, no any misery. That man alone will be able to get the best of nature, who, having the power to attach himself to a thing with all his energy, has also the power to detach himself when he should do so. But it is difficult to cultivate an equal power of attachment and detachment. There are men who are never attracted by anything. So the ideal is to have the power to attach ourselves whenever we need and the power to detach ourselves. So, but it is very difficult. Now Swami Vivekananda says, still attachment is good, then you don't have, not having concern for anyone. Let me read from there. There are men who are never attracted by anything. They can never love. They are hard-hearted and apathetic. And they escape most of the miseries of life. But a wall never feels misery. A wall never loves, is never hurt, yet it is a wall. After all, surely it is better to be attached and caught than to be a wall. Therefore, the man who never loves, who is hard and stony, escaping most of the miseries of life, escapes also its joys. We do not want that. That is weakness. That is death. The soul has not been awakened that soul has not been awakened that never feels attachment, never feels misery. That is a callous state. We do not want that. So maybe we get attached because of our infantile ego or adolescent ego. But that is the process by which we will cross that and transcend that and reach to the mature ego or Sattvika ego. One cannot become Sattvika without going through this all stages. Attachment will come, misery will come, and Swami Vivekananda says, it is the misery, it is the suffering, it is the mistake that is a greater teacher which leads us to higher goal of life, higher joy of life. We must learn that nothing can happen to us unless we make ourselves susceptible to it. No disease can come to me until the body is ready. It does not depend alone on the germs, but upon a certain predisposition which is already in the body. We get only that for which we are fitted. Let us give up our pride and understand this, that misery never is undeserved. There never has been a blow undeserved. There never has been an evil for which I did not pave the way with my own hands. We ought to know that. Analyze yourself and you will find that every blow you have received came to you because you prepared yourselves for it. You did half, and the external world did the other half. That is how the blow came. That will sober us down At the same time, from this very analysis will come a note of hope. And the note of hope is this: I have no control over the external world, but that which is in me and nearer to me, my own world, is under my control. If the two together are required to make a failure, if the two together are necessary to give me a blow, I will not contribute the one which is in my control. And how then can the blow come? If I get real control of myself, the blow will never come. So, it is about controlling ourselves, controlling our mind, controlling our ego, that will make us create real self-image. How can we do that? To create real self-image, it starts from four maturity. First is physical fitness. We need to have strong body to have practice spiritual disciplines and realize our real nature. So they say, Sharira Madhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam. It has to be given care, not feeling that I am the body, but body is my instrument. I have to give it. It also needs control of mind to go to exercise, to go to swimming, to go to some gym. It all needs something you need to do. You need to be a little active. If you are inactive and very, very lethargic, very tamasic in body, you will not be fit. You will not have a fit body. So, fit body will have a fit and healthy mind. That is one physical fitness is necessary. Then comes mental fitness. What is mental fitness? It is controlled mind is a fit mind. They say, in the body also they say, weak body commands and the strong body obeys. Obeying is done by the strong body. You say something, the body will obey. Weak, you say, I cannot go, having pain. I want to climb up. Oh, pain in my leg, I cannot climb. Get some chair, take help, someone's help. So weak body has become weak, and now it is commanding you to seek some help. Fitness of the mind is achieved. How to achieve the fitness of the mind? It can be achieved by controlling over our urges and impulses. Controlling our impulses. Controlling that mind drags, desires, strong desires. Is it possible to control? Arjuna was asked by Krishna, control your mind. Arjuna said, it is very difficult, Lord. It is like controlling wind. How can I control? It seems impossible. Vayoruga suduskaram. Krishna said, you are right. It is really difficult. It is difficult, but not impossible. You can control the mind, because without controlling the mind, there is no happiness. Asantasya kuta sukham. If you don't control the mind, you will not have peace of mind. If you don't have peace of mind, there is no joy. So, to have that, the joy of life, you must know to control the mind. Then how to do that? It can be done with the help of reason and discrimination. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagena chagrihate. Think that what I am doing, do I need to do that? Try to always distinguish between pleasant and good. Nachiketa went and he said, the Yama said to Nachiketa, you see, if you want to be happy in life as a mortal human being, try to distinguish and discriminate between pleasant and good. What looks pleasant may not be good. So don't accept what is not good. Have that intellect. Develop that. Every man is given that quality who can understand this is pleasant, this is good. To every man it often says, that inner conscience, they say, you are liking this, you want to achieve this, you want to grab this is not good. That inner conscience says. But minds, these ears of the mind is not clear. They don't hear that. They just ignore that. Or that impulse or desire is so strong that they do not pay heed to what inner conscience says and grab what is pleasant and ignore what is good. So by that, the short-term happiness, little pleasure comes, but ultimately it brings suffering. What is pleasant in the beginning and brings sorrow as a result, that's called Rajasika enjoyment. Again, that Tamasika, Rajasika and Sattvika comes. So in the Gita it is said, Yattadagre Vishamiva Pariname Amritopamam. What seems to be very difficult, like a poison in the beginning, but at the end it is like nectar. Pariname Amritamiva. Tatsukam Sattvikam Smritam. Then the Vishayendriya Samyogat Yattadagre Amritopamam. The joy that comes from the attachment or connection of the sense object with the sense organs, and very joyful and pleasant in the beginning and brings sorrow at the end is called Rajasika Sukha. So avoid that. Avoid the poison and you'll be happy. That's what it says. So mental fitness is important. The third important is moral fitness. By how to have the moral fitness? By cultivation of moral consciousness. Moral consciousness dictates concern for all things, in all actions. It inspires the individual to feel for others and share their joy and sorrow. So that's how we become moral, more connected, more ethical and moral, more connected towards others. That how to have more the service for others. Very simple things, little concern for others, even little smiling, that often causes how we can change the life of others if we can smile. It changes our mood. Just make artificial smile. They say Pan Am smiling. There was one airlines, Pan Am, and the crew is to smile. Welcome, come in. That time it came the term. Now it's the term in the dictionary. Pan Am smiling. Not the real, not from the heart, but still that works. Imitating the smile, you really start smiling. There is a laughing club in Bombay, it's quite popular. They go and they just start laughing. Artificially start laughing, and then artificial laugh induces the natural laughter. And after a few minutes of laughter, they come out happy person. So this can be practiced, imitation. They say even in spiritual practice, you need to imitate the qualities of a realized soul. Just imitate. You are not that, but imitate that. Not showing anger, just you are showing love, not even loving. Just so it's not hypocrisy. Just so I love you. By that constant practice, you really start with loving the person. To someone you dislike, you don't like, but feel that, show that you don't dislike. And ultimately, gradually, if you go on practicing that, really you don't dislike, you really will give up the disliking and will start liking. That happens. How people go to a jail and all those things, and they have so much of aversion, dislike to the place. And later on, after 20 years, when they are someone asked to release, they say, no, I don't want to go, I want to be here. That dislike has changed into liking. So they say that you imitate the qualities of a realized soul. Just imitate, you don't have insight. By imitating that, you will gradually imbibe that qualities and come natural to you. Think always positive thoughts. Yes, I can do. God has given me power. It's not ego. So humility and that I was saying, low self-esteem. Humility is a great strength. When one finds joy in keeping oneself behind, one doesn't have that attraction to go forward and take that. There is a greater joy. Other people are having, he is taking the joy in others. Low self-esteem, he wants to grab, he wants to have. But has the courage to get that, has no capacity to practice, to practice worth of endeavor to achieve that. But great anchoring, great desire is there. There is low self-esteem. Oh, I cannot do. Great anchoring in the mind. But humility, I don't need that. Let them have that. There was one story when Swamiji went to one monastery, Christian monastery, again on a story from yesterday, Sunday, Christian monastery. And it was in a village in Sri Lanka somewhere. And he found that in the evening, all novices used to rush to a place where there were lanterns. That time there was no electricity in the monastery. And lanterns were to be cleaned and kept in a room. Evening they used to take for their own rooms. So that time all would rush because there was one lantern which wick was loose and one had to hold on to make it bigger. There was some defective. Others were okay. And all novices rushed to grab the lantern. Someone asked, do they want to grab the good one so the last one will get the one, so they want to be first? The abbot said, no, all rushed to get that defective and difficult lantern so that others get easier ones. That is humility. That is surrender, giving joy to others. I gave the example of one devotee here among our congregation. And she comes timely and parks her car all the way to the school so that others may come, who come late, can park in the parking lot. So much humility, joy in giving joy to others. That is real spiritual maturity. So that is moral fitness. Spiritual maturity comes from understanding that human individual is essentially spirit, to rising above self-love and self-concern, and getting united with all. Spiritual maturity will ask us to stand on our own feet and not blame others for what we deserve, what we have got. No blaming to anyone else, not even to God. What we give, we deserve. What Swami said, strong enough, standing on one's feet. Nothing happens that you do not deserve. Bless your mistakes, because your mistakes are your teachers. At the end, I'd like to read from Swami Vivekananda, which is the story of lioness that you know, but it gives what is our real nature and how we can real self-image and how we need to achieve that, and what will help. You need a teacher to guide you. You are not that, you are that. Let me read. There is a story about a lioness who was big with young, going about in search of prey. And seeing a flock of sheep, she jumped upon them. She died in the effort, and a little baby lion was born, motherless. It was taken care of by the sheep, and the sheep brought it up, and it grew up with them, ate grass, and bleated like the sheep. And although in time it became a big, full-grown lion, it thought it was a sheep. Distorted self-image. One day another lion came in search of prey and was astonished to find that in the midst of this flock of sheep was a lion fleeing like the sheep at the approach of danger. He tried to get near the sheep lion to tell it that it was not a sheep but a lion. But the poor animal fled at his approach. However, he watched his opportunity and one day found the sheep lion sleeping. He approached it and said, "You are a lion." "I am a sheep," cried the other lion, and could not believe the contrary, but bleated. The lion dragged him towards a lake and said, "Look here, here is my reflection and yours." Then came the comparison. It looked at the lion and at its own reflection, and in a moment came the idea that it was a lion. The lion roared. The bleating was gone. You are lions. You are souls, pure, infinite and perfect. The might of the universe is within you. Why weepest thou, my friend? There is neither birth nor death for thee. Why weepest thou? There is no disease nor misery for thee. But thou art like the infinite sky. Clouds of various colors come over it, play for a moment, then vanish. But the sky is ever the same, eternal blue. Why do we seek wickedness? There was a stump of a tree, and in the dark a thief came that way and said, "That is a policeman." A young man was waiting for his beloved, saw it, and thought that it was his sweetheart. A child who had been told ghost stories took it for a ghost and began to shriek. But all the time it was a stump of a tree. We see the world as we are. Suppose there is a baby in a room with a bag of gold on the table, and a thief comes and steals the gold, would the baby know it was stolen? That which we have inside, we see outside. The baby has no thief inside and sees no thief outside. So with all knowledge, do not talk of the wickedness of the world and all its sins. We, that you are bound to see wickedness yet. We, that you are bound to see sin everywhere. And if you want to help the world, do not condemn it. Do not weaken it more. For what is sin and what is misery and what are all these but the results of weakness? The world is made weaker and weaker every day by such teachings. Men are taught from childhood that they are weak and sinners. Teach them that they are all glorious children of immortality. Even those who are the weakest in manifestation, let positive, strong, helpful thought enter into their brains from very childhood. Lay yourselves open to these thoughts and not to weakening and paralyzing ones. So say to your own minds, I am he, Soham. Let it ring day and night in your minds like a song, and at the point of death declare, I am he, Soham. That is the truth. The infinite strength of the world is yours. Drive out the superstition that has covered your minds. Let us be brave, know the truth, and practice the truth. The goal may be distant, but awake, arise, and stop not till the goal is reached. There is a story Swami Vivekananda used to like, Madalasa story, who used to always teach her newborn babies while cradling, Tomasi Niranjana, you are taintless, you are supreme self. That she used to teach. And one after another, when they grew up, they left the home and became a sannyasi, became a realized soul. So always giving that much strength to the people that you have the infinite power. You can do anything. Just don't think that you are weak. What you think, your self-image now is incorrect. You have infinite potential power within you. With that will rise, will grow the inner spirit, inner strength, and we will get, that the person will get real, correct self-image. And we, in the process, will be teaching others, and we need to practice ourselves at the time of weakness, at the time of adverse situations, that this is nothing, it will go. I am the child of immortal bliss. I am the child of God. I have been always taken care of. So no difficult thing can ever hamper me. That will make us strong, and strength is our real self-image.